Poverty is a situation, and we have fully the means and the resources to work our way out of poverty. The conversation should be, what are the things we need to do to work our way out of that situation? The challenge Africans have is we don't see ourselves. We don't see ourselves. And when we do, we don't see excellence. You know, and I'm sure you know this. When you're an African and who succeeds, and you succeed, believe me, you don't need white haters. Africans will show you. Africans are plenty capable of hating on Africans. Now here's the crazy thing. They hate on you when you succeed, they're quiet when you fail. Poverty is a situation, and we have fully the means and the resources to work our way out of poverty. The conversation should be, what are the things we need to do to work our way out of that situation? And I'll offer you a very quick thought. Get on a plane leaving any part of Nigeria, flying to the Middle East, and see the number of wealthy Nigerians flying to the Middle East to spend their wealth. Then, do the inverse. Get on a plane from any part of the Middle East flying to Nigeria, and see the number of wealthy Middle Easterns coming to spend their money here. And that's the answer that you need. So to call the problem, label the problem, and diagnose the problem is to recognize that a big part of the problem is our mindset. It's where we are planting our talents, our skills, and resources. It answers your question in this way. If we, any of us in this room, are capable, gifted, resourced, and doing well, and you're not planting a seed in the next generation, investment is not just putting up buildings, it's also pulling up people.
That's right. Did you hear that?
And so I take heart what Jeff has done here, and him being here, and the board being here, because there is a recognition that you pull up a people. This is, I think it's the most important fundamental point Africans actually need to understand. Not only what Jeff said, that there is no they, but also that the they is us. And that each of us has a responsibility to pull up the next generation, to do for the next generation. And if we don't do that, we can talk shop about it, speak about it, PowerPoint about it, discuss about it. We can put together business plans about it. But it takes actual intention and effort in doing the work. The challenge Africans have is we don't see ourselves. We don't see ourselves. And when we do, we don't see excellence. I'm going to give you a very controversial example. The Americans will tell you that the United States is the greatest country in the world. Ask them, what is that based on? Give me any metadata that supports that notion. And you'll recognize 3 or 4 paragraphs into the conversation that metadata doesn't exist. Which is to say, all of us in the world have accepted the United States to be the greatest country in the world, not because it is, but because the people believe it to be so. This is why this is why I was talking about Adam calling things. What you call things matters. Stop saying Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world. If you call it, it will be. If you say we are poor, if you call it, it will be. This is the universal law of how we make things manifest. So for me, the reason I travel the continent, the reason I connect with the diaspora, the reason we build businesses and finance businesses and invest in businesses and back startups, coach startups all over the continent, all over the diaspora, is because the most important thing that drives me has been God showing me that my job is to show black people that you have a place on the stage and it's not behind the house. So that's my calling. There'll be a separate person whose calling is to teach that to women. And for all of us, all I'm saying is wherever you are called, occupy that space. I mean, I must tell you very quickly, and I'm cognizant of time, you know, and I'm sure you know this. When you're an African and who succeeds, and you succeed, believe me, you don't need white haters. Africans will show you. Africans are plenty capable of hating on Africans. Now here's the crazy thing. They hate on you when you succeed, they're quiet when you fail. Which is to say that we have internalized failure so much that success is an outlier. So when you're a success, they start looking at things that make you different. You just said, I was Vusi 15 years ago. Listen, I'm 39. I was Vusi 39 years ago. Right? But I was raised by an incredible group of parents. My mom and dad were unbelievable. My father was the sensei in the dojo, introduced me into Kyokushinkai martial arts when I was 6 years old. And until he was murdered at 13, I spent 4 days a week, every single week with my dad in the dojo. So you don't need to teach me about discipline. I was raised in it. When my father passed away, my father's brothers tried to get my mother to marry the brothers, and I saw my mother become the most incredible, resilient, powerful woman. That's how I learned the power of black women. This is what a lot of people don't understand. We talk about Africa, we talk about the macro data, the population growth, the economic growth. The truth is that the backbone of this continent we call home has been black women. That's the truth of it. The generations that are raised, the languages that are taught, the cultures that are immersed, the food that we cook, the things we call home. The reason you can be in Europe and feel like it's not home is because your black mother is not there. And so for whatever reason, we've not afforded black women that space. And with the greatest of respect, black women who've been afforded that space apologize for being in the room. Be in the room. Take up the room, occupy the space. It's not your job to make the people who find you foreign feel comfortable for you being in the room. Your job is to be in the room. And whatever it takes for the rest of us to cope, the universe will catch up. So the reason, by God's grace, I have been able to be at and I say by God's grace because I recognize my position is not what's permanent. God can take it away tomorrow. But I will serve him no matter where I am. Good or bad, money, no money, opportunities, no opportunities, stage, no stage. I will serve a living God anyway. The reason I'm saying these things is simply this. If nothing else, just have a look in the mirror. Black people, we are beautiful, we are powerful, we are all of those things. And especially Africans. And it's so important for us not only to say the things we are, but to see it in each other. So that when we see excellence, when we see success, it's not an outlier, it's an expectation. Lastly, you said you met me 14 years ago, I'm still here. And then I said to you, I haven't even started. The reason that is because when my mother was raising me, my mom had this like very simple expression for all of us in the household. My mother always used to say, in this house, excellence is not an expectation, it's the standard.
Yes, that's it.
So you don't get to be excellent and get an award for it. You're excellent and that's the standard. And I think if all of us hold each other to that standard, could you imagine what that would create? The rising tides elevating all ships. What we might all become and what might we make manifest. The generation that birthed the Africa we had liberated us from a physical colony. This generation must liberate us from our mental slavery. But we can't do it if we don't speak life into each other, if we don't call each other, and if we don't bring each other into something greater. That's why I said, I don't need Nigeria to fail for South Africa to do well. I want every single one of my Nigerian brothers and sisters to do well. Because your success is my success. Because guess what? To the rest of the world, that's how they see us, eh? If you land in another part of the world and you tell them you are from Africa, they don't care where in Africa. Africa is Africa, is Africa, is Africa. Of course, we know there's South Africa, then there's everybody else. But the point is, to them, Africa, no, it's true. No, I don't care, I don't care. I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, you want to put your hands together for that? Please do so, especially for the women in the room. He spoke to you, and if you are the ladies, put your hands together for Vusi, please.